Welcome everyone. Thank you for joining this session on the Tableau Ironbase competition. We did this session last year and it was a lot of fun, at least for us. So we decided to redo it. I have a few slides just to introduce the event today. So I'll just go ahead and start with those slides, and while waiting for people to show up on this Zoom link. Do you see my screen, Joana?
Yes, you're good.
Perfect. So just a few words about this group. This is a group that is sponsored by Tableau, of course, and the aim is to highlight the work of people who are working around data. Please get in touch if you have questions, you would like to be a speaker, or you would like to suggest a topic or suggest a speaker. We are always looking for good feedback, good content, good speakers. So please get in touch with us. So as I said, this is being recorded and it will be available on YouTube in a few days. We will send you a follow-up email. Also, all the material that we will show now is available on Tableau Public, and we will share the links so you don't have to kind of take notes. Our next event is going to be on the 7th of April. We are very happy to welcome Brian Moore, who has created this wonderful mandala in Tableau. It is very, very, very addictive. If you want, you can go and check it out. Please don't check it out now because it's very addictive. But yes, you can create your mandala in Tableau and color it. It's awesome. So he will be talking about his work with curves in Tableau. So the topic is fun with curves in Tableau for the 7th of April. And of course, we will send you a follow-up email with all the links. So please enjoy this event. Ask questions, feel free to ask questions in the question box or in the comment box, and we hope that you have fun. Today, we are going to review the top 3 Ironbase finalists, and we are also going to review the hottest, or what we think are the hottest new features in the latest release of Tableau. So I'm going to dive into the Ironbase introduction. For those who do not know or are new to Tableau, Ironbase is a competition that is held by Tableau, and anyone can compete, can submit a visualization based on the chosen theme of the year. And then the top 3 contestants get to compete live during the Tableau conference. The last Tableau conference happened in November 2021. And of course, there's the link to all the details, and you can actually see the builds, the contestants building their quizzes live. It is really fun to watch. And they also have videos explaining their choices. While reviewing these 3 quizzes, I did not watch these videos because I did not want to be biased. I just went ahead and I looked at their quizzes because I wanted to just look at it from the point of view of a person who lands on the quiz and is trying to understand the story in the quiz. So the official criteria based on which the 3 contestants were judged are their analysis of the dataset, the design of their quiz or the submission, and the storytelling. And also there's an audience score. I think it's live on Twitter, I think. My personal criteria is guided navigation. As I said, I did not watch any of the videos where the contestants were explaining their choices. So I wanted to look at it from the perspective of a new person looking at the quiz, and also minimum preparation and manipulation of data, because that's easier to maintain if you want to really run this dashboard for forever or for the next few years. So the 3 finalists were Pradeep Kumar. Here's a preview of their quizzes, Lisa Trescott and Samuel Parsons. And I will dive into each quiz and try to tell you what I think about them. So I hope you see my screen.
We see your browser now.
Right. So the first quiz, or the first submission that I would like to go through, is Lisa Trescott. And her visualization is focused on 3 breakthrough artists. So it's obvious in the title of her visualization. what I really like about the Viz overall is the fact that there's an introduction here on the left that really makes it clear for me what data she's using and what is she explaining in the dashboard. So it is very clear the data from January 1st to July 31st, 2021. And then she's picked up 3 artists. And the reason why she's picked up is that she thinks they went from being quite obscure. So they're ranking the cross-platform performance CPP rank was greater than 1,000, 2 being a global sensation. So they went to the top 50 within a year and a half, and they remain at the top. And here she's showing their CPP rank from Chartmetric. It's a popular website that accumulates, provides data sets, data analysis on music. So you can see that the 3 curves for Jivon, the Kid, and Olivia, and they are superimposed on top of all the artists of a given country. So here she gives a filter on the country. So you can see how the 3 actually compare to others in the country. And well, indeed, yeah, you can see that the rise is indeed meteoric because this is a logarithmic scale. So this is quite important as a rise. Then the second kind of line graph that explains their meteoric rise is their YouTube channel views. And you can see that, for example, for this artist Olivia, something happened here where she went from 11 million views to 126 in a couple of weeks. For the Kid, it's not as dramatic, but he has a very linear rise. And for Jivon, there's also something happening here, and he rises here after something that happened in the first week of February 2021. So this is kind of a meta-analysis of these artists, and then she explains more on the right side of the Viz. So I have some comments, and I went through each part. I think I already mentioned that what I liked about this part is that the dates and the data used are very clearly explained, and I really appreciate that. Then if you come to the right side of her visualization, so what I love about this part of the visualization is the use of, so first what she's doing is she has the ratings, so Shazam rating of the artist per country as a function of the week. So this is a date axis. And here on top, there's a map that will actually light up if you play this pages button. And I think what she's done is a brilliant use of this bar chart. This is basically a bar chart that is playing on top of this dot chart and is lighting up the map. I think this is an excellent use of pages and a bar chart, a simple bar chart. And here you can see that, for example, for this artist, relatively obscure until this time, and actually nothing was happening for her in terms of recognition for a long time. And then you will see that the whole world basically lights up for her, as in all the cities that light up for her, that meaning that she was in the top 200 charts for that city during that week that is being played by this pages tab. I think it's a very, very innovative and interesting use of pages. I don't know why the pages are not playing. Do you see the pages playing, Joana?
They're not playing, no, but they were before.
Yeah,
it stopped there. Yeah.
Okay.
Now they are. There we go. Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. So yeah, you can see also similar stories for the other artists. Like this artist had some recognition around this period of time, but then something happened for them around this time and they became extremely popular. And I will not click more because that stops the
pages
pages
flow.
to play, but I will show you. She also has a description of what was happening in each artist's career at the time that made them extremely famous. So you know this turning point for each artist. I think every time I move something, the pages stops.
It slows down.
Oops, yeah. Okay, I'll just stop moving. Try to take it here and play. Yeah. Oh, you see, something is lighting up for the kid.
Yeah, I remember seeing this, well, live in at least at the time of the conference. And yeah, the lighting up is, it really just tells the story. Yeah, it's such a simple thing. And I have to say, I don't often use the pages shelf. But this is just the perfect usage of it. And it's just, I like it that it's just something like, it's a feature of Tableau. There's no tweaking, there's no hacking. It's just a simple feature of Tableau.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a very innovative use of this simple feature. And it's actually an old feature. It's not like even a new one.
Indeed, yeah.
So yeah, you see now Olivia is basically famous all over the world. It's kind of coming on for Jivan now, but not yet. And it will come on for him as well. Right. So I think I'm gonna just turn on the explanations because I think it's also interesting that she has this little container that opens up, and here she explains what happened. And for example, for Jivan, it wasn't until February 2021 that his solo track Heartbreak Anniversary solidified, blah blah. So that's what we're seeing here. So she actually has a lot of text explaining what happened for each artist. I'm not going to go into the text, but you can read it at your own leisure. The point is that I find the storytelling excellent. It's really, really good. Then coming to the bottom part of her visualization, which is my last comment on her visualization. And it's the only negative comment I have. So this chart at the bottom of the visualization, what it's showing is for a given month, for a given artist, so they're color coded, a track which is ranked by its rating in that given month. So for example, for the kid, the track Stay had a global rank of 24 in this month, and then their track Without You had a global rank of 49 in this month. The thing I find confusing here is that ranking in terms of music is a bit strange to plot, because the lower you have, the lower the rank, the better, right? You want to be the first and not the 100th in the ranking. But normally when we rank the opposite way. And what she's done is she's artificially stuck them up. So there's actually no logic why the blue points are below the yellow point and below the pink points. She has just chosen to put them in this order. And she's also inverted the ranking. So I find the size, but yeah, exactly. Rank 1 is big and rank 200 is small. I find it very counterintuitive, even though this is there. Yeah, this rank is 169 and this rank is 7.5. So this is my only beef with her visualization.
Yeah, I remember when I saw the live development and then her explanation, I kept looking for meaning in the stacking.
Yeah.
And the ones that are at the top, and I think it's kind of natural for, you know, for us humans to look for meaning like that, look for taller things, meaning better. And I kept trying to look for that and I couldn't figure it out. But really what you're saying is that it's a list, right? It's a list of songs, basically.
Yes, if you want. I think she made it because she wanted to kind of run this. So this is opening Spotify in a web element. And what she wanted probably to do is to be able to play the song here in this little web link. Sorry.
Yes.
I think this is why she generated this chart.
Yeah. So basically, have individual elements that you can click, and it will open the web element of the song. Yeah.
Exactly.
I do wonder.
Yeah.
I do wonder if just reverting the axes would make it nicer, in a sense that it would prevent you from looking for meaning about what's higher and lower.
Yeah.
You would just read it as a list, maybe. I don't know. Yeah.
But I mean, overall, very stunning, and the storytelling is excellent, I think. So,
agree.
Moving on to the next visualization, that is from Sam Parsons. And his visualization or his entry is about the influence of tech on music. So basically, he's talking about how technology and different platforms were or are influencing how artists are being discovered and appreciated. So he's also using data from Chartmetric. Sorry, I'll just go ahead and refresh everything. Right. So his visualization starts with actually two very simple elements: this chart and this text, which explains that he's plotting top 100 artists as of the 1st of August 2021. What I do not like about this is actually there's a story hidden, and you have to actually go and say show in order for the stories to get highlighted. I think they should be highlighted already without us having to do that. But then what he does is, with this button next, he keeps opening new containers to dive into more details of his viz. So for example, if I click next here, this panel or this container opens, and I have some comments on this container. So right, what happens is that this container shows you that there are 8 data stories, which you can see here. And then you can click, I think he says it, select a story. Right, so then you can click on a story to understand. Instead of the generic message here, he actually shows you the artist and the track that contributed or made them to their stardom, and then some text about that, but he has more details later about the artist and the tracks. So if you press next, we open up yet another container, right? And then I have comments on this container, right? So once we open up the third container, he has another graph showing how viral was the track. And this graph is different from this one, although it's a bit technical to explain. So in this graph, what he's kind of taken bands of ratings. So 1 to 10, of course, is like good rating, and 81 to 90 is like shitty rating because you're at the bottom. So 1 to 10 is red. The red is good in this graph. And what he's showing is, this is a stacked bar plot for each city. He's counting the number of cities where the artist had, for example, this rating on that given day. That's what he's showing. He also has a button to change the counts. Instead of counting the cities, you can say, I want to know the proportion of cities in which this artist had a rating of whatever, 1 to 10. But I find the count a much better measure to look at, honestly. You can then filter by region. For example, if you want to know how Roddy Ricch was faring in Asia, right, or in Europe, probably better, and probably the best in North America. No, not really. Latin America. Right. So he gives you more analytical tools to look at each artist or each story that he has selected, because he has selected only 8, right? So if I go ahead and click on this artist, then I can see and analyze the story of this artist. And then he has the final container, which is actually my favorite, and it does not work in a browser, but it actually opens up here. There's a web element, and it opens up a story, an article. It's literally an article. So you can read the text about, for example, Fleetwood Mac, and you can read what contributed to, for example, this rise. So it's similar to what Lisa was doing. She had just this menu on top of her quiz, and here we have actually 8 articles corresponding to each of these artists that would open here. They work in Tableau Desktop if someone is interested in looking at the articles. So yeah, I think that overall it's a nice use of containers, and I really like the fact that the first visualization starts with, it actually starts like this, so very simple. What I find confusing is that at some point you want to understand if this, and this graph is the same thing, because you're plotting something in time for the same artist, and it is not immediately clear. And what I like the best is this, this article, which is not, which Firefox refuses to show, but it's really the article that explains, and it's really nice to learn, okay, what happened to Olivia, for example, here. So yeah, this is my take on Sam's viz.
Yeah.
Something, Rana?
Yeah, I think mostly I agree with you. I remember at the time thinking it's smart to use all the containers. I like this feature in Tableau, so I like it seeing being used, but I can't, there were two things for me. I don't know that the navigation within the containers was always clear, and the storytelling moving from one container to another was always clear. It's similar to what you said. I'm not sure what's getting plotted on the first one, and then we move to another one, and I don't know what's in there. I think actually even my first question is like, who are these 8 people and how they were chosen? And I'm not sure we ever get an answer to that.
I think he does explain it. It's like the very first generic text that appears here, and it's a bit annoying that you cannot kind of unselect this, because when you start, there's no artist that is selected. Let me see if I can hide them. No, I can no longer hide. So I have to reload the viz. But indeed, at the start, he starts with a generic text where he shows that he has chosen 8 stories because their ranking was better than whatever. So he does tell you the criteria.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. But even then, once you highlight the story and you highlight the 8, I mean, you're meant to see the first 8 by looking at that, and you see all of them highlighted, and I'm like, I still cannot tell. From this,
then you lose the first explanation.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, I think we agree on this one. I'm glad to see that the conclusions about the meteoric rise of Olivia Rodrigo are the same. Between him and
they're
Lisa.
Using the same data, so it's reassuring.
Exactly. So it's reassuring that nothing funky happened during the preparation.
That's a validation of their analysis.
Yeah, exactly.
And so the last is, I think it's by far my favorite, looking at it from an analytical point of view, because the story is not very complicated, but I'm a simple person. So what Pradeep has done is he is looking at how people are discovering artists. So let's say he's kind of telling you how people in India are discovering male artists, female artists, bands, and from which regions these artists come. So his visualization also includes a very nice explanation of what data he's using. Excellent. And then he also introduces his color coding. So yeah, pink is female singers, blue is male singers, and yellow is bands and groups. And then he has a bar chart, and this is a global chart. So basically during this period of time, excuse me, during this period of time that he's looking at, 55% of the discovered artists, let's say, were male, 28 were female, and 16% were bands. And then he has kind of broken down this bar chart into this nice Dandelion chart between regions, and these regions are the origin of the artist. It's not the audience, but the origin of the artist. So if you click on APAC, for example, and you can see, okay, it's basically the same chart. It's the bar and Dandelion, and you can see how in the world these artists are being appreciated or discovered or searched for. And right, you can see that female artists from APAC, for example, are very popular in kind of North Africa and Europe. And also, what I also like is that there's only one type of filter. So this filter is filtering the entire dashboard. It's not like two filters. If I click here, this element, all of them are being filtered for artists from APAC. Very, very clear. I'm not sure about the usability of this trend chart, honestly. But I like the other elements, and I also like this element. So, like, for example, this artist has it has the most occurrence in the top charts. These are occurrences in thousand. And okay, he gives you the main, the top tracks that contribute to the success of this artist. And you can navigate for each region. So the origin of the artist, so EU artists, actually mostly male, and are being appreciated in also mostly Europe, for example. So it's really a very good analytical tool if you want to understand which artists coming from which region are being appreciated where. LATAM, actually, female artists are being appreciated a lot in this region. It's a very interesting analysis. You can also do it the other way, so you can kind of ask the question, I'm going to unclick this. You can ask the question, well, what kind of music are Indian people discovering? And you kind of click on the map, and then that filters everything else. And you see, well, okay, so they are discovering actually a lot of music from APAC, not much from LATAM, from North America, and from the EU. And then you can see, okay, the artists that have the highest number of occurrences in the top chart. So these guys live in the top end of their music music preferences. So yeah, I like this very clear analytical story. Not really sure of these two, but okay. I also wanted to comment on the Dandelion because it's a really nice chart, and it's very similar to the bar chart. It's actually representing exactly what the bar chart is representing. If you see 37, 36, and 27%, it's exactly this. But it's a very, very nice chart, and the way he's made it is, of course, with a lot of Tableau prep. Basically, he has created like columns. So 2 new fields in order to put these dandelions. One field is, he calls it column, but whatever, you can call it field A, and one field is row. And basically he plots a line. So this is a line in Tableau. He plots a line based on these 2 columns. And then to put like the pink dot, he has another field that gives you where you would put the dots for each type of artist, so female, male, and bands, and for each, of course, these are each region. So a very nice use of prep and the Dandelion chart. Not really sure of the analytical value of this chart because it's basically a bar chart, but aesthetic value, yes, a lot. So nice and simple. Anything?
Yeah, I agree. I remember thinking, it's the way you say it's perfect. It's a great analytical chart. It's very clean. It doesn't have a lot of elements. It's very clear how everything interacts, and it's very obvious that you click here to get to this question, to try to answer this question. Let me click here to try to see this. Yeah. So I think the main difference is then, because it's such I think the beauty of this dashboard comes with you interacting with it. It's not like Lisa's, for example, where you play the button and the story just gets told for you, right?
Yeah.
That's what I thought. But I love this one. I thought it was so clean and very user friendly. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, what I appreciate is that he has this. He has actually acknowledged his inspirations, not only the data sources. So really, really nice of him to do that.
That is very nice. Yes.
Okay, so now that you have seen the 3 entries, those of you who do not know the winner, The winner was Lisa. The second place went to Sam Parsons, and the third place went to Pradeep. In my personal opinion, I would rate them as Lisa, Pradeep, and Sam. Lisa, because the use of bar chart with the pages, it just flattened me. It was awesome. Nice storytelling as well. Pradeep, very clear analysis. Samuel, very rich in information, but I found it hard to navigate and interpret. So, but thank you to all the participants for being so generous and making their visits public so that we could download and learn from them. So thank you to them. And with that, I'm gonna hand over to Joana, unless there are any comments or special questions right now.
I'm gonna have a quick look. I don't think I see any questions. Again, people are welcome to chat or write their questions on the Q&A box. I'm not sure if they can unmute. I think they can probably raise their hands.
I think they cannot because it's a webinar.
Okay, I think they can probably raise their hands and we can try to let them talk if they want to.
Or just type in the discussion box.
Or they type in the box, yeah.
Okay.
All right. I'll start. I don't see anything coming in, so I think I'll start sharing my screen.
So now we're gonna go over to Joana, who will talk about what she finds the best features in the latest Tableau release. So 2021-4.
Yeah. Can you see my screen?
Yep.
Excellent. So this is a very, very personal choice. And I'm just going to go through a couple of things, as Fatima said, that came, a couple of new features that came with the latest Tableau release, which is 2021.4, which was released end of last year. And again, this is very personal, but these I think are features that were really highly requested by Tableau users, and they were finally introduced, and I'm already using it because it just makes my life so much easier. So what I thought we could do was a little demo of how I use these things. So the first one is actually, can you see my prep flow? I'm going to assume yes. So the first one is actually a Tableau prep feature. So in 2021.4, basically Tableau introduced parameters in Tableau prep. And so basically similar to Tableau desktop, where we've had parameters for a very long time, probably ever, parameters basically replace something in your flow, a variable in your flow. So I'm going to give you an example of how you can use this and how hopefully we can see how neat it is. As usual, I've kept this to the Superstore data set from Tableau, so people will be familiar with it, and it keeps things easy, as I think. So here I'm just connected to the Superstore data set. I have two tables that I brought into my prep flow, the orders table. We can have a look at it. It basically has all the data related to the orders that are placed with the Superstore. And then we have a people table, which is a very simple table that has the managers of the Superstore by region. So what I did was I brought in these two tables and I did a very simple join, because basically what I want to do, I use the common field region in both tables to do the join. And basically all I'm doing is assigning a manager to each of the orders. Okay, and the case scenario is, let's say I'm in charge of the data and one of the managers asks me, Joanna, can you give me an Excel spreadsheet with my data, with my sales, the sales that are assigned to me as my manager, the sales in my region of a specific month. So in this case, I build this tiny flow. Again, this allows me to assign the managers to the orders. And here I'm going to filter on the manager that asks me for this Excel file that has the orders. In this case, I'm going to assume it was Fatima. Hi, Fatima. You asked me for this. Basically, all I did here was let's just clear this and do it again. It's just apply a simple filter on the manager. So we can look for manager and just very simply do keep only. All right, so all I'm doing is keeping the sales that are relevant to Fatima, that are actually assigned as Fatima's sales. Then here I have another step where I apply another filter. Here I did a bit of a calculation. So let's say Fatima emailed me saying, I want my sales for December 2021, last year's sales. So that's what I'm saying. I require that the month of the sale, the month of the order date is month 12, December, and that the year is 2021. All right, and then I have very simple output step where I write an Excel file. I write my data to a sales sheet, a sheet called sales. And I name my file Fatima because that's what I filtered to 2021, so December 2021. All right, let's try to run this flow. It seems that the demo gods are with me. We have a file, Fatima 12, 2021. We produced an Excel file. Let's have a look. Let's see if it makes sense. Yeah, so we got sales. All we have order date is December. And if I look at the manager, all I have is Fatima. Perfect. So I can send this off to Fatima. Let's say now I get another email where Luca asks me for his sales of May 2021. Okay, so I have this little flow. I can reuse it. I guess I can go here and change Fatima to Luca. Okay, I guess I can do that. And that's it, save. And then I can go to the date and change the date, the month, because he wants May. And then I can go to the output and change the output name. But to be very honest, this is kind of cumbersome and error prone, and I'm likely to forget one of the places where I need to make changes. The most likely one is the name of the file, and I just end up rewriting Fatima's file. So yes, and especially if this is something that tends to happen where the managers ask for data for these little, manageable Excel files they can do their own analysis in. There's a smarter way to do this. And the smarter way to do this is to use parameters, the new Tableau prep parameters. All right, so let's try to do that. This is where you do it, basically. This is a new menu starting 2021.4, it didn't exist before. And let's create a parameter. So let's start by creating a parameter for the manager name. We'll call it manager. It will be type string, and current value, let's say Luca. But we're gonna do prompt for value at runtime, and you'll see later why. All right, so I created my manager parameter, and this means I can now go on the manager filter and replace my filter on the manager. Instead of, again, a parameter will replace a value in your calculations or in your filters. So instead of making the regional manager equal something fixed, which was what was there before, we're just going to make it equal to the manager parameter. And you'll see it's very similar to Tableau Desktop. It will show you the calculated fields in or the fields in orange, and the parameters will show up in purple. All right, save. Let's now create parameters for the month and the year. So we can do the same. So we'll call this a month. This will be a whole number. Current value, let's do 5 because Luca asked for the month of May. Okay, and let's create another parameter for the year. And we'll do 2021, and this will also be a whole number. Let me actually do this as well. Sorry. Year 1 will come out with 0 sales, I expect. All right, I think I got everything I needed. And again, let's use them in the calculation. So let's replace these fixed strings. Here, I'm going to use my month parameter there. And here I'm going to use my year parameter. All right, apply, save. And now, to me, this is really the best part, is you can use your parameters here as well, because I always overwrite my file names, always. So instead of giving it a fixed name, I have here access to my parameters. So I'm going to call it manager, the value of the parameter manager, the name of the manager, month, and then just follow that by year. All right, so hopefully the demo gods are with us, and I can run this flow and it will all make sense. Required parameters, remember I ticked the box to ask what the parameter would be at runtime. And this is why this is empty. So I'm going to do Luca, month 5, year 2021. This is nice because basically this is telling you that it's going to set the parameter in 2 places. So one of the places will be the filter and the other place will be the name of the file. So that makes sense. We all have all of them set in 2 places. All right, let's run the flow. Okay, let's see. A new file appeared. I am hopeful that I didn't mess this up. We have Luca as a regional manager and we have order dates in May. Excellent. So then I want to run this again. Let's say Joana, that is me, but sometimes I do want to produce my own small files. Let's say I want it for February 2021. Perfect. Let's set it. And let's run the flow. I do think, let's see. Set. What are you trying to replace? Oh, I might have run this. Let's see what happens. I do have a file. So I do think I ran this prior to the demo, just making sure it would work. But there we go. We do have a Joana file with the February sales. So I won't go through the details of this right now, but this is really super powerful. I hope I gave you a hint of that. I encourage everyone to check out our latest blog post where we go into more detail, because you can take this a step further and use Tableau Prep's command line interface. And you can imagine just automating this. And with one click, you run this multiple times where every time you change the values of your parameters. So at that point, you wouldn't even have to open your flow or worry about anything on your flow anymore, right? We saw, basically, I don't have anything hard-coded in the flow anymore. Anything can be set via the parameters. And so there's really neat ways for you to automatize all these processes and write as many files as you want for different managers for different months. Yeah, so I encourage everyone to have a look at that. As Fatima said, we're going to be sending the materials to you, so we'll send a link to this as well. Fatima, do you have any questions? Do you know if there are any questions, or should I move on to another?
Yes, there was a question if we could have a list of managers instead of typing in the names, and I said yes, we could, because that's what I saw in the flow. Is that correct?
So a list of what for a parameter?
Yeah.
I haven't tried that, but I'm going to assume yes, because the parameter is just a string, and you can make a calculation.
Because in the menu you have the option of a list, so I think it's like any parameter.
Yes. Okay, I understand what you're saying now. Yes. So if you do that, you can have something like this, where you type in your managers. Sorry. Yeah. So I misunderstood what you were saying. So yes, indeed, you can have a list. Yeah, just like that. And then what happens at runtime is it will show you the list. Instead of you having to type a name, you'll pick from a list. Yeah. Which is also quite nice. So we can do that and have a look. See? So I have now the names available of the list. This is the list I typed. So instead of typing a name, I can just select one from the list. Yeah. Yeah. What I like about having the flexibility of not making the list is, you know, and this is related to this automation. If your manager changes, like you're stuck, this is a bit of hard coding. You're stuck now with running this flow with these 4 managers. And if your managers change, you need to go touch your flow. Whereas if you leave it wide open, you could give it any value you want. So you don't even need to touch your flow in 5 years when you have completely different managers. You just need to type the name of the manager, which I think is quite nice. Yeah.
Sorry, just for my knowledge, if you publish this on the server, this would also work, right? If you run it on the server, it would prompt you for the parameter.
So I believe so, but I have not tested it. That's a good question. Okay.
I really like this feature, honestly.
Yeah, I love it. I had to come up with a hack to kind of try to make my flow work because I was in a situation similar to this with a client and had to come up with a very hacky solution to because this wasn't available until until the end of last year. But it's really neat right now. I like it a lot too.
Perfect.
All right. So I say I'll discuss one more thing. It's very simple, but again, it's a bit like the prep parameters where it feels so simple and logic, and why haven't we had this forever? Okay, so what I have here is one of the, the dashboards, the templates that come with Tableau. So I haven't done anything fancy here. This is just the dashboard, the Superstore sales dashboard that you get by default with Tableau Desktop. So something also, a situation that I encountered with a client at some point, and this is nice because it ties into the viz that we saw for Ironbase, where they had little, bullets or things that you can click, containers that would open up to show more information. So at some point I did make a dashboard for a client that required an intensive amount of data preparation. And I wanted to make it clear that exactly what was being shown to them. And also for me, because a lot of the times I was like, I don't remember what I did here anymore. So what I decided to do was, was something like this. So I'm gonna try to go through it. This is how I usually do it. So I'll drag a floating container. I'll make the background of this container white. I'll then drag in 2 text boxes. So let's do text. I'll just call it text 1 for now. And text 2. So yeah, I have 2 text boxes side by side. I will now basically resize my container to take up the whole viz. So I'll make it start right at the top left corner of the viz, and then I'll give it, you can see the size of my dashboard is this. So that's the size I'm gonna give my container. Okay, so now we have a container that covers the whole thing. I usually like to spend some time, I don't know, playing with the padding and the borders and making it look nice. I'll do this. I'll maybe format these text objects. I think I prefer it with the text on top. There we go. One thing I also like to do is to rename it, and you'll see later why. So I'm going to rename this dashboard item to help. You'll see why. And again, I like to play with the padding. So let's go something like this so that the text is well separated. Sorry, this is text 2. So there's some breathing room. Yeah, so I often also add a line down the middle by adding, let's go tiled, by adding another, just a blank box there that I give a background color, and then I make it very narrow. So, I thought I was basically doing this for one dashboard. So I spent some time making it look somewhat pretty. And then I wrote extensive instructions here, or, where to get help and exactly what I had done to prepare the data and what we were looking at. So I won't, bother you with the detail, but you can imagine something very detailed that people can go look at, and similar to what we saw with the Ironbase entries. And then what's nice is that you can add, this has been available for a while now, I think, this add show button. So this one, I also enjoy editing this button a lot. Let's try. I actually like to change it into a text button. And so when the item is shown, I want to close it. So I just write an X. There you go. And when the item is hidden, I actually like using this. So I just Googled Unicode information symbol, and I like using this little information symbol. So I'm going to put that right here, and hopefully you will see soon what this looks like. Yeah, there you go. So this is, we end up with something like this. Let me move this to the corner. I think that looks nice. Can I go full screen? Yeah, so we end up with something like this that you can close. And let me change this background. There we go. Okay, I need to change the text too. Right. The point being, I think as you can see, that you can spend quite a lot of time trying to make this look nice, which I did because I thought I was doing it for one dashboard. But now I have a nice button that gives me a tooltip that says show help, because we named the container help. And the user can go and click and get a lot of instructions. So I did this and it was great. And the clients enjoyed it a lot and then said, can you add it to every other dashboard you've ever done? And I wanted to say no because, the 5 minutes that I spent multiplied very quickly, obviously, by the number of dashboards. But here's the beauty of it now. And this seems so simple, but this didn't become available to the end of last year. I selected my container. I can copy the dashboard item, and I can just come to my other dashboard and simply do Control V. There we go. I get my already pre-edited, pre-formatted, nice container, and I don't need to spend infinite amount of time trying to do the editing. You can also copy the button. So the button is not here yet, but I can also just go here, copy dashboard item, and again, come back here and paste it. Now it appears as gray because you need to assign it to this element, but we named it nicely help. So there we go, apply. And I got my dashboard button that works and hides the right thing.
Oh, this is excellent.
Right?
Very useful.
It seems so simple, but so far it wasn't available.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you think, I also have all these workbooks that have these templates that I try to start from, but sometimes you forget, and then there you are adding logos 20 times over.
Yeah.
And you can just copy the logos now, for example.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Nice.
So yes, I'm a big fan of this one. It's simple, but I hope I've given you a nice use case. At least it's made my life very easy. And I don't know if you want to do another one, Fatima, or?
I don't know how many you have.
I have one more that I'll do quickly, which I use from time to time. I think basically it's interesting for people to know that this feature is there.
Yeah.
And especially because we discussed it a lot in the context of Lisa's, which made heavy usage of animations in Tableau. So now there's a new feature where, so for example, again, this is one of the template dashboards that come with desktop. The data here is filtered to 2019. Let's say I filtered to 2020. An animation occurred. And now you can find a new button here that will replay the animation for you.
What? Sorry, what did it do?
Okay, let me go back. So let's do the reverse.
Yeah.
Here, my data is filtered to 2020. I'm now going to change the filter to 2019. And I blinked and I missed the animation, but I'm like, no, I kind of want to see what happened there. I can just, instead of doing the filters back and forth, I can just play the replay button now. And this is what happens when you swap your filters. So
it went back to your previous filter value, and then it brought you back to the current filter value.
Exactly. But it only played the animation. It didn't actually switch the filters again.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So I do like this because I do find that when I'm exploring data, I do tend to do this and like go back and forth and see how things go. So, this is, I guess, an easier way to do it. Yeah. So I just wanted people to know that this is there and they can use it now. Yeah.
Nice. Very, very nice. Which one is your favorite?
Ooh, the copy paste. The copy paste. Yes.
The copy.
Yes, it has some limitations, but I mean, it's so natural. The amount of times I've tried to just do Control C, Control V, just hoping that it would work by some magic. Yeah. So it's just,
Great. Thank you, Joana.
It does have some limitations that maybe I can bring up, which is you can't copy paste sheets. So yeah, so these are a few limitations, but in this use case, which I think is
So you
most
can
of what I
copy
do.
paste containers and buttons, for example. So other
That's
objects.
right.
Yeah. Okay.
Any other object. So if you like the containers that we saw, because they don't have sheets in them, any
Right.
text box, any button,
Right.
any
Okay.
image, any logo that you constantly add on your dashboards, you can just copy paste them now.
Wow. Okay. That already makes a lot of difference. Yeah.
I know. Yeah, I agree. So very simple. I would say this one is my favorite. Yeah.
Fair enough. Thank you, Joana.
Thank you.
So want to check if someone has a question. I think we're at the end of our presentations, both of us.
I will stop sharing.
So it doesn't seem like it.
All right.
Right. So
It's
no
also
question.
7 p.m. So we did well on time, I guess.
Well on time. I guess everything was clear, so that there are no questions, of course. Well, thanks everyone for joining. Please sign up to the next event. It's going to be very interesting with Brian Moore explaining how he draws very complex curves with Tableau. He's a very interesting guy. You should check out his Tableau public profile in any case. So see you on the 7th of April, and we will get in touch with you with the follow-up material, all these links, and all the material that we shared with you today. So have a good evening or a
Thank
morning.
you. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.